Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of The Creator Speaks. Now last time on The Creator Speaks, we took a look at all of the Disney park announcements that came out following the D23 Expo. And, as promised, in this video we shall continue that look into all of the movie news that came out following the D23 Expo. Before we begin, I once again wish to thank Inside the Magic, as they were there at the D23 Expo, and the information in this video primarily came from them. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start off with all of the Marvel-related movie news that came out during the D23 Expo. And there really isn't that much, as they only really showed off two movies, Doctor Strange and Captain America: Civil War. Now, for Doctor Strange, concept art was shown, along with a video message from the star of the film, Benedict Cumberbatch, who, in that video, promised the movie would have girls, cars, explosions, and astral projecting into alternate dimensions. Now, on the Captain America Civil War side of things, some footage was shown, which included an extended battle sequence on a bustling city street, and a brief scene with Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. Now, I am one of the few people who have never actually watched any of the Marvel movies. Shocking, I know. So while this doesn't interest me specifically, I'm sure many are excited for Captain America Civil War and Doctor Strange. Although, based on the description Benedict Cumberbatch gave for Doctor Strange, it does make him sound more like Michael Bay than anybody else. Alright everyone, so let's move on to the second real category of movies that they showed, which are either live-action remakes or sequels. Now the first one on the docket is The Jungle Book, which was completely new to me, as I wasn't aware that they were even doing it. Now the director of this new Jungle Book is Jon Favreau, who had previously directed the movie that I love very much, Elf. And it was said that he had wanted to find a balance between the original source material and the Disney movie. Footage was also shown, which apparently had included Bill Murray singing Bare Necessities as Baloo the Bear. Now the next movie that they showed was a remake of Pete's Dragon, and there wasn't much that they said about Pete's Dragon besides a brief trailer that was shown. The only other important thing to note about the remake of Pete's Dragon is that the star of the movie is going to be Bryce Dallas Howard, who had previously been in the mega hit Jurassic World. Moving on to the third movie that they showed, which was also arguably the one that a lot of people wanted to see things from, the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. There wasn't much shown, except for a video message from the star of the movie, Emma Watson, who is going to be playing Belle, and co-stars Luke Everett and Josh Gad, who play Gaston and LeFou, singing a few bars from the Gaston song. Alright, so moving away from the live-action remakes, let's move into some of the sequels, which there are really only two. The first one being a sequel to the 2010 Alice in Wonderland. Now, there wasn't much revealed about its sequel, now titled Alice Through the Looking Glass, besides from some footage that was shown. Most of the original cast is returning as well, along with a new cast member, and Tim Burton favorite, Sacha Baron Cohen, as this new character called Time. Now, arguably the movie that they showed in this category that got the social media world to basically explode was Pirates of the Caribbean 5: Dead Men Tell No Tales, primarily because Johnny Depp came out in character and in costume as Jack Sparrow. It was also revealed in this section of the show that Will Turner, who is Orlando Bloom's character from the first three movies, would be returning for the fifth installment, as well as newcomer Javier Bardem as a new character, Captain Salazar. Now my thoughts on all of this news pretty much goes like this. I am optimistic about the remake of The Jungle Book. It could either be really great or completely terrible. But if, like Beauty and the Beast, they're using the original songs, then it could work really well. A trailer has since been released, and while I'm not a huge fan of the realistic animal designs and how it looks like it relies too much on CGI, I'm still wishing this project will work out well. The same pretty much goes for Beauty and the Beast. However, unlike Jungle Book, basically everything that's been made known about this movie has just excited me more and more. There isn't enough info on Pete's Dragon for me to make an appropriate opinion, but I think the idea does hold some merit. Now, I couldn't care less about Pirates of the Caribbean 5 and Alice Through the Looking Glass, but I'm sure those who like those franchises are anxiously awaiting their release dates. Alright guys, so let's move on to the third set of movies that they showed during this section of the D23 Expo, and it's also from arguably the franchise you couldn't escape, Star Wars. Really, the only movies that they showed or gave information about was The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And within that, there wasn't much revealed about The Force Awakens. Rogue One, on the other hand, had a video message from director Gareth Edwards from the set of Star Wars Rogue One, and it showed the very first cast photo from that film. Now, like Marvel, I am one of those weird people who has not watched a single movie or cartoon related to Star Wars. Ever. However, everything I've seen about The Force Awakens has actually excited me and makes me want to see Episode 7. The idea that they're going to do a standalone Star Wars film in the gaps between official episodes does also intrigue me, and seems like it could make Disney a ton of money. Alright guys, so moving on to the category that I was most excited about, the animation slate, particularly with Walt Disney Animation Studios, with a bit of Pixar, but we'll get into that as this category rolls on. Now, the first new movie that they showed was Zootopia, which is going to be directed by Rich Moore, who was said to have described the film as a Wind in the Willows, but for today's audiences. Moore and his creative team also discussed how they researched the behavior and movement of animals at Disney's Animal Kingdom and in the nation of Kenya. Now, the movie takes place in a city designed for animals, by animals, and is divided into geographic climate zones like Sahara Square, Tundra Town, and the Rainforest District. Now, the next movie that they showed was called Gigantic, which is said to be a Disney-fied take on the classic tale of Jack and the Beanstalk. The director, Nathan Grau, hopes that the movie will become the definitive version of the tale. It takes place in Spain during the age of exploration and discovery, and centers around the friendship formed between the adventurous Jack and an 11-year-old girl giant named Inma, as they face off against the warring race of storm giants. Another piece of information that was revealed was that the songs for the movie will be written by the duo behind Frozen's music, Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez. Now, the third movie that they showed in this section was called Moana, which is going to be directed by John Musker and Ron Clements, who Disney fans would know as the directing team behind such classic movies as The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, and Princess and the Frog. They promised a movie that would be inspired by the people, stories, and music of the South Pacific. The story takes place 2,000 years ago and focuses on a 16-year-old girl who aspires to continue the traditions of her people, renowned as the world's greatest navigators. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays the legendary demigod Maui, and he also appeared on stage to welcome everybody. Now, the fourth movie that they showed in this section is actually a Pixar movie called The Good Dinosaur. The film centers around a dinosaur named Arlo, who, accompanied by a human child caveman, must transform from timid to confident as he makes a long journey back home after being swept down by a river. Despite its troubled production history, The Good Dinosaur is said to be a fun road trip movie with classic Disney-style tropes and characters. And finally, the fifth new movie that they showed at the D23 Expo is actually called Coco, which is going to be directed by Lee Unkrich of Toy Story 3 fame. You may also know it as the long-announced Mexican Day of the Dead theme movie. And it's said to be about a 12-year-old boy named Miguel who unravels a generations-old mystery. And sadly, that's all we know. Now, my thoughts on this are really pretty simple, and they boil down to this. I think these all could be really great movies. I love seeing John Musker and Ron Clements back in the directing role again. Because like I said earlier, pretty much after Princess and the Frog, they haven't done that much, so it's great to see that they got another new project from Disney to do. It's nice to see that we finally have a title for that Mexican Day of the Dead thing movie. Now, while I admit that Zootopia does sort of have the stench of a DreamWorks movie, even down to some of the character designs, I do still think that it could be a very entertaining movie. Same sort of goes for Gigantic, because it looks like from the concept art that they're trying to find a balance between Frozen and Tangled, and I'm interested to see where they go from that. And finally, in this whole movie lineup, they talked about the animated sequels, which really there were only two, and they're being done by Pixar. Finding Dory, and Toy Story 4. Now, Andrew Stanton, when he was on stage for Finding Dory, discussed how he felt that the only unanswered question from the original Finding Nemo was actually Dory's history, i.e. where was her family. So to solve that problem, Diane Keaton and Eugene Levy have been cast as her parents. And there have been new cast members announced, like Ed O'Neill and Ty Burrell, both of Modern Family fame, and Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and they play a variety of sea creatures who are going to help Dory on her quest to discover her past. And finally, we have Toy Story 4. Now, during the Toy Story 4 section of the presentation, John Lasseter came up because he's going to return to the directing chair, and in that part, he discussed that the story of Toy Story 4 is going to be of Woody and Buzz trying to track down the lost toy, Bo Peep. John Lasseter also said that each Toy Story movie was a different genre, and that the genre for this new film would be considered a love story. Now, when Finding Dory was first announced, I wasn't all that excited, but now I'm actually looking forward to it thanks to the information that was revealed at the Expo. Now, in regards to Toy Story 4, I couldn't care less. And it really just seems like a pointless film, and it really looks like they're trying, especially with the fact that they're trying to get Bo Peep, it really looks like they're trying to retcon the third movie a bit, because if you remember in the third movie, a big crux was that a lot of the toys had been sold away, and one of those toys was Bo Peep. You could make an argument that this is them trying to get her back, so that there is interesting story possibilities there. To each its own. And there you go, guys. That was a very long-winded discussion about all of the Disney movie-related news that came out during the D23 Expo. I really do hope you enjoy this, and again, I do apologize for how late this video is coming out. Leave a comment down below as to what you think of any of these announcements, any and all of these announcements. Comment below, let me know. We can have a good discussion about it. And until next time, where we'll be talking about all of the Disney video game related news that came out at the D23 Expo, I'll be seeing you. Bye, guys.